Welcome to the What's Next podcast. On today's episode, Bryan and I open up and chat about why we came together to share our stories. We want to start the conversation. We're here to break down some walls and dig into some tough spots. Join us on this journey. So if you're ready, buckle up. Let's go.
Rolling.
Hey, this is what, third?
Oh my gosh. Can't believe we survived to now.
And I thank everybody. I mean, we've had some great following. We've had some people reach out and thank us for coming back on to live and being here to share ourselves and share our stories and then to help others as well. So thank you, Bryan, for, I don't know who we should thank for actually poking us, but
somebody did.
Somebody poked us, and here we are. So here we go.
No, and you know what? There's no shame on my part. I'm an open book.
Yeah.
Whatever people want to know, I'll tell them.
Yep, exactly. And that's why we did this, is so we can be an open book. I mean, I think more than anything too, as I said, we've got stories ourselves that oftentimes we've sat in silence as well. So this has been a great therapy for me as well, just being here with you and listening to your story. And so where are we going today?
Wow. You know what? You and I were talking earlier, and you know, you were talking about how life has transitioned for you.
Yeah.
So what's next? So you were the guy that's out on the road, moving and grooving, going to the trade shows, down in Vegas and wherever else you went in the world.
Why do you always bring up Vegas?
I don't know why I always bring up Vegas. Maybe I want to live there. No, I don't think I want to live there.
Oh, the city that never sleeps.
Yeah. But I mean, you're always going to trade shows and you were just that guy. And then all of a sudden, what's next happened?
Oh, there's the podcast. What's next? Yeah, you're right. You nailed it. And I am that guy. I mean, I love being around people. I am one of those ones that always needs people around me. I love being with people. I love helping people. I love guiding people. I love being, there to help support them and to help them find their way too. And yeah, when the pandemic hit, man, I was told to be at home. And I think we touched that on right near the end of the last podcast about, how I've had to make this transition from being that extrovert, being out there helping people, sitting down and planning, their projects and programs and different things. And all of a sudden the world shut down. I couldn't go see people anymore. And I was one that always wanted to see people and be around people. And it's funny, as I mentioned, Vicky, why do I always use that line? It's funny. It's funny. And maybe it's not funny, but it's again, one of those habitual things. But here I was, Vicky was working a lot of hours. In the ultrasound fertility world, and she'd come home at the end of the day and basically say, what'd you do today? And it was kind of that, and I took it really personal, is even as much as she just said, you want to know how my day was, because we always chat about our day with one another. It's one thing we do. We never keep anything back. But I was starting to feel guilty, but there was nothing I could do about it. I had to stay home. I couldn't go see people. The doors weren't open to go see anybody. A lot of my clients, their salespeople were working from home, and I couldn't go see people because of the COVID and the pandemic. So it was one of those things where I had to kind of find myself again. I thought, you know what? When she come home and says, "So how was your day?" And I'm thinking, it was good, I guess, but yeah, I didn't get to see anybody. And so I started to actually realize that I had to be somebody different. I guess that's the word it was, but I really started to realize that I had to be a better partner for Vicky. She was going out there every day doing her thing, and she was in a world again that was in a pandemic, always, wearing a mask and everything else that was going on back in 2020. That was before the shots even came out. So every day you were wondering if, everybody was going to be safe and everything. And she'd come home and I thought, man, I've got to be a better spouse. I've got to be a better person. And I started to take on the role of making sure that when she came home that, everything was okay. And she was, because this was the thing, I was always on the road, as you said. I traveled a lot, a whole lot from all over the place for different trade shows and everything all over the U.S., Canada.
Like Las Vegas?
Like Las Vegas.
Sorry.
Brought that up again. But again, I would entertain a lot of clients. We'd go away. We'd go to Arizona. We'd entertain clients and things like that. So I was gone a lot. And I'd come home at the end of the day and she would have dinner ready. We'd sit down, have dinner and whatever else. But now she'd come home and, she'd kind of look at me and how was your day? And again, it wasn't anything questioning what I was doing, but I started to feel guilty. You know what? Here I am at home all day, and she's at work all day, and I'm thinking, is this my life now from home? So I started to, I wanted to be a better partner. I wanted to be a better spouse. So I started to actually teach myself how to cook. And so when she come home at the end of the day, I always had dinner ready for her. You laugh. I can do more than hot dogs.
I put cheese on them.
Oh, shit, I never did that. I never thought of that. Well, okay, add that note to self, not on the menu. You got cheese on your hot dog, honey. But what I did is I reached out to these companies that actually bring food to your table. And they bring you the menu and everything else, because I don't know what spices to put on something. And we've got so many friends that are great cooks and things like that. And I sat down and I actually realized that this is fun. I spent time there prepping everything before she get home and have the things ready. And she'd sit down and make sure that I got dinner ready. And then it got to the point where how can I help? And the two of us spent time in the kitchen together making our dinners, where before I'd come home and I always just expected to be there. And it's funny how you just expect those things, because that's the routine you get into, or the rut, I guess it was for us, where I was expecting that from her. So now I'm making dinner, and I'm making some spectacular dinners. I've never had you over, because
I was gonna say I haven't had one. So every time I go there, Vicky's always cooked, and it's spectacular.
I don't like it that much. Anyway, but I started.
Well, I brought Angie with me.
For sure. Yeah,
right.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I like Angie.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you have a partner that I like. So I started doing things like that, which was totally different. And then I took on the role of, I'm going to make sure they get the laundry done, and I should quick run the vacuum through. So it became, I need.
Have you got video of that?
No, actually, shit, and we're live too. Everybody heard that. No, it's become
Vicky's going. No, he didn't.
No, I hope you cut some of this out. And there's a lot that probably will get cut out. But I did. I really started to embrace the fact that now I could spend time in the kitchen, and I was making some really great meals. And then we'd have a date night. When things started to open up again, but it was one of those things where we became tighter, because all of a sudden now I realized that, I've got to help out. I'm not leaving the house, and I don't want to get stuck in a rut where I'm in just this one room all day. So I made sure that I moved my office around throughout the house so that I could be in a different frame of mind. And it really was a struggle. Like I said, as an extrovert, where I'm out there all the time, meeting people, sitting down in the boardroom with people, helping design and create different things, and all of a sudden being told you had to be at home. And I thought, you know what, I got to be able to do more than this. I've got to do more than this. And as things started to open up, I still started to embrace the meals and stuff like that. But as the doors started to open up, and I got out a little bit more. But and that's one of the things. Actually, I wore my Harley shirt today. What I did during the pandemic too is last spring, I decided, you know what, I just need to get out. I need to get out of the house. I need to do something. And I was just going to drive around. So I went and bought myself a nice big Harley.
You did.
I did. And wow, I got to tell you, it was spectacular. I bet you we put on, Vicky and I, over 10,000 kilometers on the bike last summer. But it was, again, this thing that brought us together. Allowed her to get out of that work environment that she was always in, that was stressful. I mean, a very stressful environment. Again, you got the public coming in all day to the ultrasound fertility clinic, gosh, and hoping somebody's not positive. And so she would come home where I would have meal prepped and everything else, and then we'd spend time on the motorcycle. I started to go out and see clients on my motorcycle, even though they weren't working, but we'd stand in their parking lot or in their driveway, and I'd have the bike, and it would be great conversation right away. So all of a sudden now I got to get back again into that feeling where I was around people again, and that's what I needed. And it was so hard for me to be at home. I struggled. I struggled very much being at home. And now, I mean, it's become, but I've learned how to get up in the middle of the day, and I actually set a timer on my phone that the timer went off and go 9 o'clock a day, and it'd say jump group time. That's the name of my agency, Jump Group. And then it would ding again at 11:45. Okay, now it's time to get up and have some lunch, or prepare some lunch. And then 1 o'clock it would ding, jump group time again. But if you didn't do that, I found myself stuck in that office, doing stuff all day. And you got to get away from that. I had to step away from that, where yourself, and as first responders, as we talked earlier, you needed that escape, and everything was closed. I couldn't go anywhere. So my escape was, okay, I'm going to go into the kitchen. I'm going to prepare a meal. I'm going to do that. And next thing you know, I'm going to escape. I'm going to jump on the motorcycle, go for an hour ride on the bike, get some fresh air, and get back into the house with a fresh mind and ready to go again. And it was I'll be honest, it was 2 years of freaking hell. I didn't enjoy it at all. I hated it. It was, thank goodness, that I had some great clients, or we even got together. We actually had coffee time where I'd open up my Zoom line from 10 o'clock till 11, a couple times a week with my business partner, and we just allow people to come in to have coffee with us. We get on a Zoom, we have coffee, and just chat about how are you doing? How are you dealing with this, that, and the other thing? And again, it was people telling their stories, and the number of people, again, same thing. I just need to get out and see people. And we couldn't see people. We couldn't see them at all. And this was, like I say, my release when I bought the bike to get out and get into the fresh air. But and so I've become a very good cook. We'll have you over for dinner sometime.
Wow. Okay.
I'll put it out there.
Yeah. Can't take it back now.
Shit. And again, I get the motorcycle for me was my piece of getting away and getting it's funny how we always talk about back in the day, you and I did a couple of events with Michael Landsberg, and where we talked to a number of schools and that to youth talking about mental health and things like that. And like he said, you get up in the morning and people say, how come you're not happy? He says, just don't tell me to go for a walk. Don't tell me to do this because today I'm not feeling any joy. And I didn't realize what that really meant. So that's crazy. Like, how can you not get up and feel excited? But I had to get up in the morning and I started a gratitude journal. And I started writing out every day what I was thankful for. I know I couldn't go anywhere, but I was thankful that I had another day. I was thankful that I was healthy. I was thankful that my family was healthy. I was thankful that Vicky was healthy. That type of thing. I had to do that every day. I wrote out that gratitude list, and it definitely got me through. And then the other thing, as we talked about, what are those things that you reach out to for that release, or those things that you reach out to help you be strong again? And my biggest thing that helps me get into my space to make me feel good is music. I could jump in the car if I had to. It was the winter day, and I would just jump onto Spotify and I would find somebody that I love to listen to. And that would put me in a really great frame of mind. I'd go back to the office and I'd be in that positive frame of mind again when I'd start to work in. Music really put me in an incredible frame of mind. It's something that really helped me. I spend a lot of time. I'll give you a second to say something too.
No, go right ahead. No, you just keep going.
Yeah. I have a very good friend of mine who started off as a personal coach, but then became probably one of my closest friends and dearest friends, who we have some really open, heartfelt conversations. And we'll get him on this show one of these days too, is Doug Dane. Doug Dane is a very good friend of mine. And Doug actually took the time to dig in and have helped me find truly who I was and truly who I wanted to be, and helped me find all those little things that I had to do to step out from the place that I was, the dark place that I was going. It's funny. We sat down one night with our partners and we were watching, what was the name of I'm brain dead, with Lady Gaga in it, Star is Born.
Oh, yeah.
The new Star is Born. And we're watching that movie together, and we're watching how at the very end where he went into the garage, and I look over and Doug's weeping. I'm weeping. So now we've gone out live. Sorry, Doug, I just told him you were crying. The two of us were freaking weeping. And we looked at it and said, yeah, that's it. We get ourselves in a place where we don't want to tell people where we are. I didn't want to tell people the place I was in. You didn't want to tell people the place you were in. We sat in silence, and then all of a sudden we watched this movie and went, holy crap, I need to talk. I need to get out and talk. And hence why we brought this podcast back. I need to get out and tell people it's okay. It's okay. So I want to thank you again, back to reaching out and say, Mike, let's sit down and throw this thing together, and let's get out there. And because it's crazy. I think more than anything, here we thought, the pandemic was going to, bring families maybe closer together. Did we think that? It's one of those things. But you mentioned it the other day, how I feel this disconnect with people.
Totally
a different direction that we thought this thing would take us. A lot of people said, it's family's going to be together. Maybe it'll bring them closer together. But it's funny how people now are even more silent than ever. And all they do is talk about the pandemic. Well, we got to move on. It's time to move on.
It's interesting to me listening to you there. So it simply just came down to, I don't mean that to be too cliche that it was that simple, but it truly is, in the aspect of you had to make the decision to be a better person. Nobody else.
I didn't like who I was.
No, but that took you.
Yeah.
That took self-awareness, but that still was your decision. And that's, we hope that there's lots of people listening out there, beginning to listen to this and go, places like Frontline Forward and music and whatever is that release for you, wherever for you to go. But the bottom line is just one simple thing. It's got to be your choice.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
And, that's where it really gets to be tough, because we get those people that are stuck in their houses.
Yeah.
We've had to be stuck in our house, and we've come to learn how to be stuck in our homes. But people that are suffering or struggling, I don't think suffering is the word. I think struggling with PTSD, with anxiety, with depression, with addictions that are in their basement. Mm-hmm. They're on their couch and they're not coming out.
No, exactly.
So, we can sit here and preach and tell you about all the wonderful things in the world, which there is to help us. It's still got to be your choice.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, like I say, we're hoping that this podcast, is the whole thing, is like I say, we brought it back together again, because there's so many people that are sitting in silence, and we want to hear that story, and we're gonna head that way. But when I talked about music, it's one of those things where there's another environment. Think about all the concerts we used to go to. Think about all the different venues we'd go to and watch live music. And, you go to dinner or the jazz festival or just a jazz bar, or even just anywhere like that, and have a couple of beverages or dinner or something. And that all stopped. We were big concert goers. We go to a lot of concerts. And I know you and Ange go to concerts all the time. And we couldn't go to any of that anymore. So it really became this, like I say, music was my escape. So I get in the car and listen to some music, put my headphones on, do some meditation with some really soft music. But I became a real follower of some great artists. And more and more listening to the message that they were giving. And again, one of those things we talked earlier, I think it was in the very first one, we talked about Stephen, Ryan, and we're definitely, and again, thank you, Stephen. You're somewhere in this studio. I can't see you. There's too many lights in my face. But anyway, thank you, Stephen, for being that guy. But there's this person that I really, truly look forward to. I think we've got him lined up for the next show. I talk about myself, and again, it's one of those things you think about yourself, but I think about so many others. And here's a guy that was out in the different in the clubs and stuff like that, and the pubs, and singing and launching albums and things like that. And now all of a sudden you're being told, no, you can't go sing. So here, you can't go sing there. They had to learn to adapt to a new environment, and that's putting themselves out there online, putting their music out onto Spotify and to Apple Music, whatever, instead of singing live, selling albums. Crazy.
And, for me with music, I enjoy really all genres of music. I really do.
Yeah.
I can listen to just about anything.
Yep, same here.
And I really appreciate it and hear it for what it is. Music is storytelling.
Yep.
It's about feelings. It's about life.
Yeah.
Good and bad. There's lots of songs out there that people have, that love that particular song.
Yeah.
And then when they hear why the artist wrote and what it is all about from the artist standpoint,
right,
it's got a totally different, because they wrote it about this.
Yeah.
And you don't relate to it that way. That's the beauty of music.
Yeah.
Is that music is what it is for you.
Yeah.
It's big. And I know I lost that in my life. Just going back here, like probably maybe as much as a year ago, I started noticing that I would rather be in the car going somewhere with nothing on.
Yeah. Well, I got to that point for a while
silent.
too. Yeah.
And I would sit there and I could literally drive from here right across Canada and not listen to anything. And I got to that point and I lost the appreciation for listening to music.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I've just started to get it back where I want to hear the music again. I want to talk about it again, like all the crap that we've been talking about prior to our thoughts on some great songs. Yeah. It's brought me back to a better place because music can literally take you wherever you want to go.
Absolutely. And there's, like I said, there's so many genres out there that you can listen to. But like I said, music was where I wanted to go. And I wanted to touch on that because the next show we're going to have Stephen on. And it's one of those things where it's incredible. Like, we talk about all different people and all different careers and everything else are going on. And here's somebody that is just incredible musician. What? Because he's looking at you now. Incredible music.
No, I just remember the conversation that we had earlier. It makes me laugh right now because we're talking about country music and rock and all this, and then Stephen was explaining to me
he's a pop artist
about being a pop artist, and I'm like, oh yeah, and he goes, well, you know what pop stands for, right? And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
nope.
I don't know.
And
Michael Jackson, Prince, I don't know.
It's popular music, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you dumbass.
So we'll definitely lead into that on the next show, that's for sure. But again, Stephen's become a very good friend, and I watched how he transitioned into You've Got to Be at Home, and we're in this incredible studio that he had built and created to let his creative juices flow, and we're going to get into that conversation with him on the next show. But again, how we've all had to make those changes. You had to make those changes as a frontline responder to be able to, how am I going to change into a new life and a new career? And then I look at myself I had to change who I was. And as we get back to this opening of everything, and I'm thinking, do I want to go back to that guy that I was? No, I don't want to be that guy anymore. I truly love where I am right now. I truly believe that my relationship with my incredible wife, Vicky, is in the best place it's ever been in. But it took a pandemic, really, for that wake-up call. And I look again back to another position here right now. You got Stephen, who's this musician that's been told, no, you're going to go live at 8 o'clock and you're going to go on Facebook Live. Really?
Yeah.
And how do I get feedback from my crowd? I got to read the messages. So, music is something, as you said, it's a story. It's with feelings. Feelings. No, sorry. I almost
Stop. Oh my gosh.
broke into it again.
Stephen,
I love that song, though.
He just dove underneath the desk over there.
Nothing more than feelings. I don't know. Now we're going to get cut off because we use somebody's lyrics. But it's again, that's, man, oh man, when you're that creative person that wants again people around, and how he's adapted and changed and brought that out. And again, there's many stories we're going to follow up on. How many people are working from home right now? And one of the biggest things that I just heard is, as much as people are being productive at home, but judgmental of your fellow employees has become on a real uphill.
Sure.
Because people now are saying they don't know what's going on at home. Oh, so-and-so, apparently, they booked out at 2 p.m. Well, did you know that they were 2 a.m? They were doing stuff first. So you're not in that environment around the office anymore where you feed off each other anymore. You're just on a Zoom call for a quick one. You don't have that team camaraderie like you used to anymore. I know a couple of managers for some really high influential companies that they miss being in that team environment. So we're talking about all the different changes, your changes, my changes as an entrepreneur, Stephen's changes as a musician, and now those that come from the huge corporate world. Look at a CEO. How does he sit down with his directors and that when you can't be in the same room together? You can get on a Zoom all you want and be there with, looking like you're sharp and everything else, but you got no pants on. I mean, really, take me seriously. Oh. Anyway, I better check. Have you seen these? Have you seen these? They're nice, eh? Anyway.
Yeah, they're all ripped.
Yeah, anyway. But that's how, it's what's next. Like, we've gone through this incredible change in everything that we've done in life in the last 2 years, and then we're coming out on the other side, and we need to be better people. We need to, the world is so crazy right now. We need to really reach out and help each other and bring ourselves back together into a.
I agree, totally. And unfortunately, it's led us down a much different path than I thought we were going to go. It's really brought back in a lot of greed because people are trying to recoup their losses.
Yep.
When I think we should put that in check.
Yeah.
Really, and it's not about recouping the losses. It's about celebrating that you're still here.
Absolutely.
And celebrate the day for what the day is.
The gratitude. Be thankful. I mean, we've got our health. We've got a roof over our heads. We've made it through this thing healthy, and our family is, as much as we were apart for so long, we're now coming back together again. But, one of the quotes that I've written down and follow really closely is that people say I'm unhappy. A fellow gentleman said, people say I'm unhappy because I'm quiet. but he says, I'm not unhappy. I just appreciate silence in a world that never stops talking. And man, oh man, that's,
Literally.
Yeah. As we sit here, continue to talk. But that's the thing. I mean, man, oh man, it's, this is a great place to be able to tell your story and open up, and we're glad that you're here.
Yeah, and we're almost done talking about ourselves.
But, again?
No, I think. Well, I think you can definitely want more. No, don't.
It's on our side.
But I think it's now time for us to do a little bit of a transition of the podcast. Start bringing some of those people that we've been talking about, and really, for as much as they want to tell us their story.
Yeah.
Tell us their journey. And again, that's totally up to them.
Yeah, 100%.
Where they want to go with this thing, and the message that they want to get out to people. And the message that we're simply just trying to relay here is that you're not alone.
Yep. And again, there's stories where people have really adapted during this whole COVID, where they've come out, just gangbusters, going in a positive direction. There's a company out of London, and I want to have these guys on. I'm going to give them a plug right now. I want you guys to watch for it. These guys have grown an incredible business during COVID that is giving back, and and they're just just out of university. I mean, incredible. And again, it's so cool that there's some really great stories, and it's not all about woe is me. It's all about here's what we can do. Here's how we can help so many others. Here's how we can.
Well, to that point, Mike, it's easy to stay on the negative side of things.
Oh, negativity is easy. Yeah.
Because it takes an effort to be positive.
Yeah.
It really does.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't.
No.
But it does.
Yeah.
It takes us an effort to maybe do the right thing, to be appreciative, to be forgiving to what's those around us a little bit. That takes effort. That takes a conscious effort for you to want to be better yourself, as you said. It takes a conscious effort for those people that are struggling with whatever they are to overcome the things in their lives that they need to overcome.
Yeah.
Right? That takes effort.
Yeah.
But as I say to most of the first responders, when around our place, when we have those conversations, is that they work so hard to get the certification, the title, the job, and this. This can go to every facet of life. You work so hard to get there, and you conquered that. You became that person, whatever that title is, right? And now you slipped and fallen. You slipped and fallen, and you're over here. Put that same effort back into yourself to get better. You can already do it because you did it to get to where you were.
Yep.
But now you slipped and fallen. Understand that, it happened. And recognize it.
And that's what our community is about.
And that's what the community is all about.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Get up off the couch.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thanks again for hanging out, buddy.
Awesome.
Look forward to our next one.
Yeah.
Mr. Stephen Ryan.
Oh, watch out. I don't know whether we can convince Stephen to sing it. When the guy sings, he brings tears to my eyes. He really does.
Wow.
Yeah. No. Well, not from a bad way. I should clarify that. There was always, I had Stephen on my radio show a couple times, and I asked him to do some songs that were near and dear to my heart, but I'm not doing that this time because he just,
I had him on Extraordinary Life Live too, and it was brilliant. It was the highest viewed show that we had. So looking forward to having him on. We should maybe let him know that we're going to have him on.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else that's there listening right now, get ready because we may be calling you out. Would you hear that? That was calling you out. I should have been a rock star.
WWF.
I should have been a rock star.
Really?
No. Anyway.
No.
Well, thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Another one gone. Okay. Looking forward to the next one. And everybody out there, be safe. And peace.
Talk to you soon.